Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.
Baltimore, it's a special place. It's a special place to play football. The connection with you, the fans, and us, the team, is it's real. And I enjoyed my time here, and I appreciate you.
And that, of course, was now former Ravens center Matt Burke speaking directly to you, the fans, just after he announced his retirement last week after an incredibly solid 15-year NFL career, which included the past 4 seasons with the now Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. Hello, everyone. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. This week, in addition to a more newsy segment in which we view Matt Burke at his retirement, we'll catch you up on the latest with your Baltimore Blast, and we'll find out just who's going to entertain at this year's Preakness Infield Fest on May 18th. We'll also take a first look at how the O's figure to be in 2013 with a new O's beat reporter for PressBox, Paul Folcomer. But first, as you heard, with Matt Burke retiring and all the information and conjecture of just who will and won't be back on the Ravens for 2013, the Ravens are always in the business of finding replacements. An awful lot of those replacements come from the NFL Draft, which will be held starting on Thursday, April 25th. Joining me now is the PressBox draft expert and proprietor of his own website, fansfantasyfootball.com, our friend Ken Zalis. Kenny, how are you?
I'm good.
And welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
This is really one of your favorite times of the year. I know when we start cooking around late July and August, that's one favorite time.
Fine.
But right now, figuring out who's going where and where they're going in the draft is special to you.
Yeah, it's I love the NFL draft. It's one of the exciting days of the year. You know, it's Christmas morning. You find out what present was left for you underneath the tree, and you get to unwrap it and see how it's going to fit in with all your other toys.
Now, let's be pretty candid about this. One of the reasons the Baltimore Ravens continue to win football games at a kind of historic pace, really, over John Harbaugh's tenure, is the work done by Ozzie Newsome, Eric DeCosta, and Joe Horvitz.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't draft well, you're never going to find good football players. And the Ravens do it as well as anyone. They, like everyone, they have misses. Cody was a miss a couple years ago. Kindle was a miss. But they have more hits than misses, and they find these diamonds in the rough. Bernard Pierce was a guy. 3rd round, everybody's like, who's Bernard Pierce?
Yep.
And look what happened. Pernell McPhee a couple years ago in the 5th round turned into a great pass rusher for him. So
Chucky Brown this year.
Chucky Brown.
Looks like he could be a solid NFL contributor.
And once Asa Jackson gets his stuff, he's going to be a solid player. But they find guys early and late, and they put the pieces together to help them grow.
You know how general managers think in all the sports, okay? You call Terrence Cody a miss,
yes.
Okay? A year ago, wouldn't most people have been calling Paul Kruger a miss? Is there a chance that by being constant with who you've drafted and belief in them, if you're not unrealistic, that you do get paid off down the road?
There are guys that improve. Kruger was a guy I honestly wasn't very happy when they took him,
right?
Because I thought they were going to get what they got the first couple years. He had a terrific year this year, pass rusher specialist almost. But there are guys. But Cody's the type of guy who would have come in and be a space eater, and he's not doing that. And it's the physicality part of it that I think you call him a miss at this point, because I don't know where you get that physicality from at this point. He'll make a play every once in a while, but he needs to be more consistent, and we just don't see that on tape.
All right. Tell me about, just needs-wise, what the Baltimore Ravens need. Do they even know right this second exactly what their needs are?
Well, I think they have an idea what their needs are going to be. Whether Ed Reed comes back or not, you need to find the replacement for Ed Reed, and you need to find it pretty quickly, because you don't know how many more years he's going to play, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. But you need to find that guy. You know that Ray Lewis is gone. You know that Ellerby is a possibility. He could be gone. You really don't have anything at linebacker, so you need to find a linebacker. You need to find a guy that either rushes the quarterback or somebody that can fit in the middle, because I don't think that there's any way Kruger comes back. He's going to get paid. So I think those are some of their obvious needs, and they could still use some beef up front and some help on the offensive line.
But they can't really ascertain that until they, as we're speaking, we're about 5 days out of the March 4th deadline. Right. When this airs, we'll be 2 days away from it. Do you think the Ravens get the deal done and then have a little bit more certainty as to what they're going to be able to do with this structuring of the salaries?
I think they do. I think it comes down to the 24th hour. I think it's how they work. We all remember the Haloti Ngata contract and all that. And, you know, most people went to bed that night. They didn't get it done. They wake up in the morning. It's like, oh, my God, it's done. So I think they do. I think they are smart enough. They know what the market is. I think they know they have to pay Joe at this point. You know, you can't have a better ending to a season than Joe Flacco got, and to be a free agent at the end of that. And they really can't afford to franchise him because it will cripple them in what else they're trying to do.
Is the solution to this contract in the end a combination of what they need to do short term with some type of kicker that does essentially in one contract what Tom Brady's now doing? You know, in other words, where toward the end, years 6, 7, and 8, or 7, 8, and 9, there's some type of accelerator that allows them to have some flexibility now.
I think there's a way to build the contract where maybe Joe Flacco gets more guaranteed money up front, put it over a longer term of the contract. Instead of 8 years, you make it a 10-year contract, and you backload the salary and things like that into the last 3 years of the contract. Give the Ravens more flexibility. If you give them a $40 million, signing bonus, that's great. That's unheard of. You spread it out over 10 years. It's only $4 million against the cap.
Exactly.
Versus right now, you're going to get hit with $16 to $18 million if you franchise them against the cap. So there's a way to do it.
Tell me about this thing you were telling me. We got about a minute and a half. You're part of this national draft network or something. Tell us how that's going to work.
It's called, it's www.mock1.net.
Not the number one?
Mock, written out O-1-N-E.
Okay.
.net. And what it does is it assigns 32 draft experts, one for each team, and we hold a full 7-round draft. We can trade draft picks, we can move up, we can move down, and it's great.
Can people continue to view it, and you'll write about it on PressBox online?
You can follow me on Twitter @FansFantasy. Go to Mock 2, which is the second draft, Mock TWO, in Twitter, and you can follow every pick as it happens.
All right. Kenny Zalis, always a pleasure to have you on. You're doing a great job. And again, he's with his own website, fansfantasyfootball.com, and he's our NFL draft expert and NFL fantasy football expert. We thank you for coming in, Ken. When we return, let's dig into the first Orioles season we've approached with excitement in over a decade. That'll be with Paul Folcomer of PressBoxOnline.com next. Inside PressBox is presented by Friedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Friedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.